This is not about trying to become some kind of a superhuman being. This is about realizing being human itself is super. See, it's been discovered, or we have observed, that in our brain there are millions of cannabinoid receptors. So what does this mean? Lots of speculation went on. So naturally, people who are on the dope, they said, this means everybody must smoke, or this means anthropologically all of us, all human beings at some time were smokers. Then they came up with this, that these cannabinoid receptors are there because the body is supposed to produce this. The brain carries millions of receptors and the body is supposed to produce the endocannabinoids. So, this production, it can be either on or off depending upon how you have kept yourself. That within yourself you can generate a chemistry which keeps you always blissful. But the most important aspect of it is, when it comes from outside, it keeps you… maybe it makes you blissful for a brief amount of time, but it makes you unaware. When it comes from within, it keeps you blissful and makes you super aware, which is the important thing. So this is not about trying to become some kind of a superhuman being. This is about realizing being human itself is super. And once you are blissful by your own nature, you always see that your life is super. It doesn't matter, some situations in our life go well, some don't go well, some happen our way, some don't happen our way, but this one life should be always happening our way. The nature of human mind is such, let's look at it this way, it's a building of million rooms. Most people who live normal life may explore 5, 10 of those rooms, that's all. The million rooms are just there, unused. So once in a way, if you forcefully enter those rooms by using a chemical or something else, sometimes it can happen because of injury, sometimes it can happen because of shock, that people enter other spaces of their minds, which they can't believe it is their mind because it looks like a whole new world. It is just like if you had, let's say, if you did not have eyes to see, if you open your eyes, suddenly it's a whole new world. So just like that, if you open your eyes to certain things, it looks like a whole new world. No, it's the same good old world, but it has so many dimensions, and human mind, in its evolutionary process, have gathered so many rooms to it that most of the rooms are not explored. So what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is this: if our focus is only on our survival process, if we are constantly activating our survival instinct, then the number of rooms that you explore in your mind will become very limited. If our focus and our attitude is not about survival, because survival essentially means we want to build a wall of protection around ourselves. Well, you see all the creatures are always trying to create boundaries. That comes from our evolutionary memory that we want to survive, and surviving is a very important process. If we don't survive, then what next? There's nothing else. So we must survive. But is it necessary that your survival instinct is always on? If you are a wild creature, yes, it must be always on. But we evolved to this point where our cerebral cortex opened up, blossomed into this possibility, where once you become a human being, your survival doesn't fulfill you anymore. In the sense, for example, for all the other creatures, if their stomach becomes full, their life is settled. But for a human being, if stomach is empty, there's only one problem. If stomach becomes full, there are 100 problems. This is the nature of a human being. Because for a human being, life does not end with fulfillment of survival requirements. In fact, life begins only after survival is taken care of. This is the nature of a human being. And no matter where you are, in what position you are in your life, you want to be something more than who you are right now. If that something more happens tomorrow morning, once again you want to be something more. So something more, something more, something more goes on. If I make you the CEO of one galaxy, you will say, I want to… what about the other galaxies? So, this is how human nature is, it wants to expand in a limitless way. When we say expand in a limitless way, we want to expand into our infinite nature. So can anybody count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get to infinite nature? No, that's never going to happen. So the important thing is to be able to distinguish between our survival instinct and longing to expand. Our longing to expand infinitely is finding a constipated expression, which we call as ambition or, desires and things like that. Essentially, it is a very small expression of this longing to expand. This longing to expand, if you make it a conscious process within you, then you will see your survival instinct will come down to its minimum levels. When that happens, your mind opens up to various possibilities. In many ways, this is what these chemicals are doing.